Hello, Internet. My name is Roro, and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone's having a good day. Today, I want to talk about something that was suggested by one of the viewers of this channel, NYC Bible. Thank you for the suggestion. And they said, I would love to hear about your upbringing, maybe development growing as a kid to a young adult. And I thought that was a great idea. I think it's important to identify certain things that helped you develop into who you are as an adult from when you were a kid. And in my opinion, I don't think people take that into consideration as much as they should. All of the defining moments you have when you're growing up, how they lead you to be the person you are as an adult. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. All right. So for anyone who has seen my other videos, you guys know that I'm an artist, I'm a musician. That's the main thing that I do in my life. And one of my earliest memories as a kid was playing like a little toy acoustic guitar, trying to mimic a musician that I saw on TV, also playing guitar and singing. And that was so formative for me as a child, seeing, I guess, a reflection of what I could be and what I could strive to be. You know, maybe I wasn't thinking about it in that concrete of a way when I was young, but I knew immediately that music was something that I was interested in and that I really wanted to do from a very, very early age. And, you know, I consider that the beginning of my journey as a musician, alongside, you know, the classic pulling out all the pots and pans when my mom's in the kitchen and just banging on them with wooden spoons, stuff like that. You know, I ended up becoming a drummer too. And that was the main instrument that I played for many, many years. And it also helped that my dad also was a musician and played drums. And he was nice enough to get me my first drum set when I was in first grade. And I had that drum set forever. I still have it at my parents' house back home. So I was very, very lucky that I had parents that were willing to support me with my art and my music all the way at the beginning. And not only did they support me, but they encouraged it and they wanted me to do it. And that made me even more driven to do it and to pursue it and to really, you know, put my all into it because I felt like that's what I wanted to do. So I got a little older, you know, I kept playing drums, learning the basics, trying to mimic songs that I liked to the best of my ability. And then I ended up joining school band where I also played drums in the band. You know, I did concert band, I did marching band, and that's where I really started to develop my musical mind from a technical standpoint, not necessarily from a creative standpoint. But that's when I started to learn the skills and develop, you know, the hand muscles that you need to really be a good drummer and like having those base skills that you can apply to creative things so that you don't run into blocks because you can't pull something off because you don't have the skill. You know what I'm saying? And some people, especially in the classical music type world, they're more than okay with just playing other people's music forever and developing their skills and not necessarily focusing on creating new music, just performing music more so. And that's totally fine. You know, I did that for a very long time, but I'll get into the more specifics in a second. But I really am a creative person and I need that ability to express myself creatively in order for me to feel fully satisfied with what I'm doing musically. So, throughout my life growing up as a teenager, I ended up being in a bunch of different bands, jamming with people, learning other instruments, you know, guitar, bass, stuff like that. And that was really great for my creative development. You know, I ended up being in a band with four of my good friends in high school. I was helping write songs. We were playing a bunch of shows. There was a really good local scene. So there was a lot of people that I was around that were very creative and they were pursuing the same thing. So in that sense, I'm also very lucky that my peers at the time when I was trying to do music and being in a band, like really pursuing it for the first time as a teenager, that there was a bunch of other people that were also trying to do that with me or at least alongside me and helping each other out. But as you guys also know, if you watch my channel, I'm a very loner, introverted type person, and it's hard for me to be around people all the time. So it ended up being very taxing and draining to be in a band and having to collaborate with people regularly in order to create the music that I wanted to create. And that led me to being a solo artist and focusing on doing everything myself and focusing on doing music and art just by myself so that I can really have full control over everything I'm doing and see my vision through to the end the way that I wanted it to be executed. If that makes sense. So the way this relates to me developing as a kid, growing up into an adult, is I needed that stimulation from other people for my creative energies to get flowing and, learning from people, whether it's directly or indirectly, just seeing how people do things. I needed that to develop the mind that I have today. And I needed to pursue music in a more technical way through schooling. I even did music in college for a little bit before I dropped out. I needed that as well to develop my technical mind and like the actual, what actually goes into creating music. I needed all of those things to be where I'm at today. But along the way, I learned that I needed to do all those things by myself in order to be fully satisfied, which that concept in itself applies to my entire life. It's impossible to be completely isolated from everything and everyone. And if you are, that's very unhealthy and it's literally torture. It's a form of torture. So you need to develop ideas with other people, at least at the beginning, so that you have a platform and you know what's what before you can really pursue your own thing. And I could talk about more normal experiences that I had as a kid that led me to being the person I am now. But music is the first thing that I thought of because it's the thing that has been there for me my entire life. I've loved music longer than I've known people that I love in my life. Music has always been a source of expression and happiness and joy and just like everything. Music is everything for me, which is why it's so difficult for me to know what to do because I'm so passionate about it and I care so much that I can't reason with myself to let go of this idea that I have in my head of this like perfect art and music that I have to make. And I don't want to feel like I'm catering to anybody else when I'm doing it. But that's also near impossible to do and very self-indulgent in a way. But that's a whole other topic that I could make a whole other video on, honestly. And I could elaborate on this in all other ways too, like just interpersonal, like amongst friends or just like things in my family or just things that I experienced that really turned me into the person I am today. So maybe this will end up being, more than just this video. But I think for this video, at least I wanted to establish where I'm coming from as far as music and how it led me to where I am today. So thank you, NYC Bible, for the suggestion. It really means a lot. And if anybody else has any other suggestions for videos, feel free to leave it in the comments or you can email me. I have my email address on my page. If you want it to be a little bit more private, that's totally cool too. And I put a new video out every Sunday, all similar topics. I'm always just kind of sifting through ideas in my brain and seeing where I'm at. So if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll enjoy other ones on my channel. And you can come back next week for a new video. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys next time.